Yeah.
I see so many Jewish communities hesitant to embrace the deep emotional development. And what do you think we still have? Like, why do you think people still have this hesitancy? Like, what barriers are coming up for people, preventing them from doing deeper self work?
I know where I was. I'm very. I try to be non-judgmental because I get it. It's a painful process. It's facing difficult challenges, and if I have created coping mechanisms that allow me not only to survive but to be productive and to be a good person and to be a good Jew and to serve God in an earnest way, so I can understand tremendous resistance. Number one. Number two, sometimes people who are not so familiar intimately with this work, because maybe they didn't go through the process so much, for whatever reason, maybe they didn't feel the need, their children didn't take them down that path, they never had a major struggle or a breakdown in their life. They sometimes could look at it and say, oh, it seems selfish. People get narcissistic and self-centered, and it's all about what I'm feeling, what I'm not feeling. And part of being a Jew is you're a soldier, you're a servant of Hashem. Wake up in the morning, do what Hashem wants. And they'll even quote lines of Tanya, like Mayach Shalat al Alev, you mentioned before, right? The brain rules the heart with an iron fist. So get over your stupid emotions and don't be a crybaby. And we all have problems. And the previous generations had much more problems than you, but they forged ahead, boots on the ground. They put one foot ahead of another foot. Now, all these sentiments, I'm saying it a little bit with humor. I understand it. And not only that, for many generations, this has helped people survive. And this has even helped people survive in very graceful and dignified ways. So I think we have to be very sensitive to that and understand that, real inner emotional work is very, very difficult. It's painful. It's challenging. And it's important to know a very deep truth in life. We don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. We really don't know what we don't know. And this is not a knowledge that's in the brain. It's not computer knowledge. This is not AI. This is not artificial intelligence. This is very, very deep inner work of working through emotions. But I think you and I know very well, and probably anybody listening or watching knows very well, when you're sitting in the presence of somebody who's involved in this work, you just feel it and know it. It's a different language. There's a different energy that comes from their face. There's a different energy that's going into you. Carl Jung, who once said, we will only change people to the effect, we will only change people to the point that we're ready to change ourselves. And it just radiates. Teachers, mentors, parents, leaders, rabbis, rebbes, mashpiyim, educators, principals, therapists, gurus, life coaches, whatever it is. Leaders of all stripes and types, those who are truly, truly challenging themselves every day, challenging their ego, their insecurities, their wounds, their survival mechanisms, their coping mechanisms, their instinctive triggers and responses to life, their anger, their jealousy, their fears, and they're really working with it. When they teach Chassidus, it's alive. It's alive. It's not words. It's alive. You suddenly see Tchias HaMesim in people. You see the resurrection of the dead. I know this with myself. I could teach sometimes. It's painful for me to say, but there were times in my life, I was detached from my teachings. I gave a good class, I think, but it was detached emotionally. And I'm not saying, the messages are sometimes very helpful and people get out of it and it's a good thing, it's spreading good things, but I completely cannot compare it to when I'm a channel. In other words, when, my ego gets out of the way, at least as much as I can do at that moment, and the energy comes through in a more transparent fashion, the way it affects people is completely different. It's not anymore with guilt and shame and negativity. There's like a godliness, like a divine energy that gets awoken in them. And it's never about me or really about anybody else. It's really about the the frequency of divine energy, that we are all privileged to be a channel. And the more we get ourselves out of the way in a very healthy way, we become a channel, the more the more infinity we channel through us. So, but listen, I think every person ultimately needs to discover it from within.